Hello everyone, and welcome back to this week's Sabbath School Nugget as we continue our study into the book of Genesis. But first, I want to thank Seth for sharing his thoughts from last week's lesson regarding the fall. The memory text for this week comes from Genesis 4 and 7. If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin lies at the door and its desire for you, but you should rule over it. Now, Sabbath's lesson points out that chapter 4 contains the first genealogy to show up in the Bible. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to speed read through the genealogies, and I'd wonder why they were even there. Until I realized that the genealogies were proof that God was keeping His promise to Adam and Eve that one day a child would be born, and that child would be the promised Messiah. But more than that, I think that the point Moses is trying to make is this: not even Cain's sin can prevent God from keeping His promises. In other words, God always does what God says He will do. Now we come to the story of Cain and Abel. Now, if I've learned anything from the story of Cain and Abel, it's this: if you don't learn to deal with your temper, it will turn you into a monster. The truth is, unresolved anger could turn you into someone or something you don't want to be. And this is what happened to Cain in Genesis 4. He had a bad temper to start with, but he refused to deal with it even after God warned him about the sin in his heart. Eventually, it turned him into this other person, an evil person. However, we're going to find out that Cain not only had an anger problem, but he also had a worship problem as well. Now, in Sunday's lesson, we're reminded that Adam and Eve sinned and were banished from the Garden of Eden. But not all is lost, because they leave with the promise that one of Eve's offspring would come to save them from their sin. So imagine what Eve must have been thinking when Cain was born. Well, we actually have a pretty good idea, because that name Cain meant something along the lines of, I have acquired or gotten something special and or powerful. In other words, Cain grew up with this idea that he was something special. Now imagine that along comes Abel. His name means vapor, wind, or breath. It's the same word Ecclesiastes uses to talk about how temporary and fragile life can be. And tomorrow we're going to see just how temporary Abel's life would be. Well, thank you for joining us today. God bless. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.